The Trump administration faced a judge's deadline of 6 p.m. Eastern Time Monday to repay millions in foreign aid funds. It's unclear at this point if it followed through with the order. The judge imposed the deadline last week after a group of foreign aid contractors argued the government was obligated to pay outstanding bills. The Supreme Court upheld the ruling in a 5-4 decision. Monday's deadline only applies to the groups directly involved in the lawsuit, which they say amounts to $671 million. Tom Dupree joins us now. He's a former Deputy Assistant Attorney General. Tom, always good to see you. So let's take a step back. The Trump administration has successfully stopped funding for many USAID programs. I mean, we reported earlier in the broadcast some 83% of the programs. So what makes this case different?
Well, what makes this case different is what's being challenged here is the government's failure to pay money that was already owed for work that was already performed. And so I think what the challengers were basically saying is that this is kind of a straightforward instance of essentially contract law, that we were going to get paid to do this work. We did the work. The government owes us the money. So I think from that perspective, it's a little different than shutting down USAID programs more generally.
What happens if the administration misses the deadline?
Well, if the administration misses the deadline, the judge has a whole bunch of tools at his disposal. Often what judges will do in this situation is they'll start off slow. They'll maybe issue a new deadline, give them a couple days grace period, have stronger language in their order saying, you got to do it by Wednesday. If that doesn't work, judges can do things like impose fines. They could hold government officials in contempt of court. That's the way judges typically will try to force compliance. They'll start off slow, but they'll quickly turn up the pressure if the government doesn't do what the court wants them to do.
Does this case have any kind of precedent or set any tone for the types of programs the administration can or cannot stop, or is it simply just focused on these groups that we're suing?
Well, I think narrowly speaking, it is just focused on these groups. But I do think this case does have much broader implications for Trump's overall effort to try to reduce government spend. I think what happened here was we saw the Supreme Court said, again, at least in this instance, that the government could not break its commitment to pay these groups, to pay the money it owed. Whether or not this is going to have broader effect, I think remains to be determined. But there's no question that the Supreme Court did send a little bit of a warning shot across the bow of the Trump administration here.
All right, Tom Dupree, thank you for your time.
Thank you.